Smith.
Yeah, what's up? What's good? What's happening? Welcome to the King and Me show. I'm one half of this thing, King.
Hey y'all, it's me, Michelle. How y'all doing?
And we are live, liggity live, July the 7th, the year of our Lord 2025. It is a new month for us, so we have something that we must start off with every single time that we have a new month.
Okay, so someone had already flipped the calendar, so I didn't unflip it, but
Bam.
Here we go. Here's July.
So July, that was Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, that was Philly last year.
That was Philadelphia. That was me, you, and Castle. And there's something about that month that we decided to take trips because if you hadn't been following us, we're going to Tokyo in 2 days. Also, this person just came back from a trip where she was in Portland, Oregon for about, 5 nights?
6 nights.
6 nights total. Literally just got off the airport 2 hours ago. Then we had a 1-hour drive to get back here. Mm-hmm. And now we are live. So first of all, thank you for still doing the show. I tried to cancel it and she said, no, King, I'm going to push through. So thanks for still doing the show.
I'm a survivor. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to work harder. I'm a survivor. I'm going to make it. I will survive and keep on surviving.
Where was you at yesterday for karaoke? Oh, right. Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon.
All right, y'all. Hey, look, first of all, we do want to say thank you because as of right now in our group on the Variety Magazine's competition for America's Favorite Couple, we are sitting in first. We would like to keep it that way. So there's, I think, 3 or 4 rounds. Right now, we are leading in our group in round 1, and that's thanks to y'all. So be sure to go to thekingandmeshow.com, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see a big button that says vote. You click that, you go there. Every 24 hours, you have the opportunity to put another free vote in. And we've had some supporters that have spent their hard-earned money to do some of the paid votes as well. So to those people, thank you. That's dope. Like, we never expected anybody to do that. So for them, we'd like to give a special thank you.
Yes, I do want to thank you. I do also want to say, if you are one of those people, please know that your donation for our votes is tax deductible because you are donating to help eliminate hunger. It's a food program that's based in California. So it is tax deductible. So it's a win-win. You get to vote for us and you get a tax deduction. So please and thank you.
thekingandmeshow.com, scroll down, hit the vote button, check out our website as well, and sign up for our newsletter. We announced it a couple of episodes ago that we're going to have a giveaway, and the only way to figure out about what that giveaway is to be subscribed to the newsletter, because that's where the information is coming from. I figured out how to do it.
Okay, good.
All right. So tonight we're going to expound on a little bit of a topic that we recently did that was a tangent from one of our prior episodes in which we bagged on the state of Mississippi.
Well, no.
What do we do? What do we do?
Misunderstood a clip. And honestly, that's fair. You hear a 60-second clip that came from a 60-minute episode, and you're going to form opinions based on that 60 seconds, but it's not the entirety of the story. You have to have listened to the whole entire story. So I was talking about the South, and I was talking about how I did not necessarily want to teach in those southern states. And I made a comment about poverty, and everyone is like, oh, you're part of the problem because you don't want to teach down there. And I'm like, no, you need to understand that the two are related, but the way my mind works, I said them together, but I didn't mean them together in that moment. What I meant was there are states where the legislation, the leaders, the people who make things into being in those states do not allow the truth of Black and African American history to be shared. And
Okay.
because they don't allow the truth to be shared, those are states that I did not necessarily want to teach in. It just so happens to coincide with the fact that many of those same states also have really high poverty levels or are the most impoverished state in the union. And I made a reference to Mississippi, but, and then Mississippi did get dragged in the comments, but not by me, just in general in the comments.
So we do see that we have some chats, but our chats isn't displaying. I think I just fixed it. If somebody could put something in the chat, that way we can see that it's fixed, we would appreciate it. There he is. Okay. So
Yay! Look
anybody
at
that
that,
chatted
Paul.
beforehand, we're not going to be able to display it, but this is the first one that we can see. Greetings and salutations from Paul, hashtag struggle love.
Struggle love.
I brought up a little bit of the struggle love yesterday on his live stream with the Ghost of Sparta and the BMU network. Shout out to them and what they do for the conversations that they have trying to move the needle towards a more positive lifestyle for people. And they'll sometimes go into other conversations about things. But they have something for everybody over there.
Oh, good.
All right. Now, we also saw Tom is in the building. Want to
Hey,
give a salute to Tom. We got our first moderator, Tarika's in the building.
Hey,
Hey,
sis.
Tarika. Hey, Tarika, I actually have something for you. So be on the lookout for me, and I need some information from you, but I have something that I need to send you. And then we saw somebody over on Kick. It was a new name for us. It was Markov23 said, how are us and where are we from? We are from the internets. And finally, we have CC Smith in the building. Said, hey, mama, thanks for tuning in. So today's topic is titled Degrees, Dollars, and Dating. Do they matter in love?
Ooh,
So,
okay. So King is driving this show because, I was traveling, I was out, I didn't prep or do anything. So this is all him driving.
all right. So I'm just going to read this little monologue real quick.
Okay.
Do degrees matter in the dating pool? Can money buy peace in relationships or just more problems? How much does your education and net worth matter when it comes to love? So, question for you, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
When does money and or education matter in love?
Okay. Let me try to get this all in a 60-second clip. That way, when it gets snapped, it's all together.
Uh-huh.
I personally do not think that the education level that a man receives matters to me when I am dating him. Respectfully, I out degree you. I have one more degree than you do. That means nothing as it pertains to our relationship. However, what matters is your overall intelligence and level of intellect. If you could not hold an intellectual conversation with me, degrees or nah, that would be more of a problem for me than how degreed you are.
I like lamp. Time said a lot of Black Americans don't even realize that Haitians help America to fight for their independence.
Mm-hmm.
And then CC Smith to Dollars, Datings, and Degrees said nope, nope, and maybe.
And I mean, that's fair. Like, I think for some
Oh, I'm
people,
sorry.
it does.
Degrees is a nope, dollars is a nope, dating is a maybe.
For some, I think it will matter. Again, I've dated people who have been as degreed as me. I've dated people who have not been as degreed as me. It does not matter. It's, can you hold a conversation with me, an intellectual conversation? Can we be talking about more than just sororities and fraternities and the heydays of Greek life? Can we talk about some things that actually matter? If not, then that's what matters to me, not how many degrees you have or how much money you have.
Okay. This is a question for you specifically. I'm going to answer it, and the audience, I would love to get y'all's answer as well. Everybody has different variations of what their net worth is, and all of that. Michelle, could you date somebody who makes significantly less than you? I'm not talking about 20,000. Let's say half.
I'm a teacher, half of my salary.
Half of your salary. This man is expressed that he can be there for you. He doesn't have a lot of, I'm gonna make it real specific. He doesn't have a lot of expenses on his end, not saddled in debt or anything like that. But he was comfortable by himself making half of what you make, and he could afford to do that. That's what worked for him.
So
No
his
kids.
his debt to income ratio is low because he may have a low income, but he also has very little to no debt, no kids. Then yes.
Lives in a small square space house, but it's paid off. So all he has is his taxes. He has a car that's paid off, but he never aspired to make really more than half of what you make because he never needed to.
So I had an ex who was like that.
Okay.
I had an ex who inherited the home that he lives in from his mother when she passed away, and all he had to do was pay the taxes. He was at a job where um it's an hourly wage type job, so he can earn less than me. He could earn more than me in a pay period. It just all depends on the hours that he works. And his overall debt was fairly low. Like he didn't have credit card debt and all that other stuff. The issue was he didn't manage his money well.
Okay.
So I found myself trying to like help him, and I'm like, okay, the paychecks that you get paid twice a month. You can take one entire paycheck and pay all of the bills that you have in one particular month. And I was trying to help him with that. He was not listening or responding, and that's where we had issues. But it wasn't so much that he earned less than me.
Okay. My answer is I could do I could date somebody making less or more, and I would have no issues doing it. I was actually sharing with Sean on one date that I went on that as I've gotten to know this person a little bit more, they're married now.
Mm-hmm.
But when her and I were talking or whatnot, we you know trying to figure like not figure out, but you're I almost want to say interviewing, and I hate that I have to say that. But you are interviewing people
Yeah.
essentially if you're dating for a relationship, like you're dating to be more than just fun times with each other. And I found out well after the fact that this person, so you know how much I make now?
Mm-hmm.
Times that by 3.
Oh.
And they had a significant net worth. And I was just sitting here like, did I fumble the bag? No, I say that jokingly because you would go where y'all weren't supposed to work out
Because
because
you weren't. Because you
you
were
and I were
supposed to
supposed
be with me.
to. Exactly.
Uh,
I knew that was coming. But I found out that, and I wasn't intimidated by what I thought she made initially. And she was actually upfront about it. And the cool part that I love and respect was that she said it's a turnoff for men when they find out what her net worth is and how much she does have. And she lowballed me, but it was still high from the low ball. And I was like, yeah, that don't necessarily matter to me. You know what matters to me. It's like who you are as a person. And if I can, I'm just gonna say this straight up. If I can like not tolerate, if I don't have to worry about sitting here going, oh, and I'm just feeling like I have to tolerate somebody. If you're feminine and your femininity oozes, that works for me.
Ooze.
And your femininity oozes.
So I like what Paul said. Oh, baby. I just processed that. Thank you, baby. Paul said net worth and degrees are not synonymous. There are highly educated people that don't make much money and people with only a high school diploma who are well off.
That's true.
So I'm gonna take this moment to do a quick education plug. So where I just was for the last week, I was with educators from all over the country, the National Education Association. We had our annual meeting and representative assembly. And one thing that can be found, so I may mess up the numbers just a little bit, but you can go to NEA.org. Again, National Educators Association, NEA Education Association, NEA.org to get the information. But educators in general, and when we say educators, we mean anyone working with students. So that can be a cafeteria worker, that can be a bus driver, that can be a teacher in the classroom, that can be a para educator, that can be an admin, that can even be someone in the collegiate realm. So it's not even just K through 12, we're even including the higher education. So an educator in general makes 80 to 92 cents less, um per dollar less their um than their counterparts who are as degreed as them working in any other field. So, for example, I'm an educator. I have 3 degrees. I have a bachelor's degree in finance. I have a master's of public administration. And because I'm an educator, I had to go back to school to get a master's in teaching. So I have a master's of art in teaching with a focus on secondary business education. King has 2 degrees. He has a bachelor's of science in something that I've completely forgotten.
Business and business.
Business and business. And then he has a MBA. He has a master's of business administration. King makes twice as much money as I do. And I have more degrees than him. For if you were to run into anyone who has 3 degrees, so a bachelor's and 2 master's degrees, and they are not an educator, you are going to find that they will make double to more than someone who is in education.
So why are you in education then?
Because I love it. It's my passion. I love working with kids. I do. I'm sorry. But that is the truth. So there, and then Torian is here. He's, former educator. He can attest to that too. The pay difference, and it's not even about gender, because we're not even getting into that gender intersectionality of it. Just looking at overall educators, we make 80 to 92 cents per dollar less than people who have the same amount of degrees.
I think it's dope that you're in education.
But go ahead, get your butt.
However,
okay, fancy butt.
Education better get what they can get out of you.
Why they
because
can't?
I got plans for you. Shout out to Torian. Torian said it's crazy how transactional relationships are. I'm dating and I'm recovering financially after a devastating loss in divorce. I'm feeling like if you can't accept me in my bounce back, why would I give you the time when I come up?
Ooh.
It seems that there's a focus on saving someone as opposed to joining with someone. So Torian, I want to add a little bit to that. Oh, you're good, babe. You just tried to knock me out. After my divorce, I shared on somebody else's platform that I wasn't necessarily ready to be dating. And I probably said it on this platform as well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I was. I just wanted to be needed. Now, I too had a devastating loss, but it was to my own demise. A lot of it was self-inflicted as to why I had a devastating loss, and I accept that. But I still had to bounce back. I still had to recover. Now, I believe you and I, just on the way that you typed that, we have a very similar mindset. I knew I was going to bounce back. I just needed to put in the work to get there. And for me, when I thought that I was ready to date and ready to get back out there and look for something immediately when I shouldn't have, one of the things I had in my mind was, hey, if I give people who I am up front, all the flaws, if they were willing to accept that, then that was somebody that I could work with. And of the many dates that I went on, it was in the minority of women that would go, ooh, yeah. Like they couldn't see the vision that I had, and that's okay. They wanted somebody a lot more ready-made. I'll add to that, that's also, in my opinion, the culture of dating where we live in the DMV area. I think that a lot of the culture in the DMV, because there are women that are highly educated traditionally in the sense of degrees and things like that, that they expect a man, even if they don't have a degree, to at least come to the table with some money themselves. If you are dating down south, you don't get that. There's not a lead with your status at the front when trying to meet somebody. It's more about, in my opinion, the values of the person than it is about whatever your status is down south. What did you notice on the West Coast? Did you happen to see or get into conversations about things for people out west or in the Pacific Northwest?
So before I answer that question, I do just want to throw this out there in case someone is watching and they're not familiar. DMV stands for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. It's the abbreviation, the nickname that we give for many parts of this area. I'll be honest, Frederick isn't necessarily considered DMV-ish. Folks like to think
Interesting.
they are. But when they say DMV, they're specifically referring to Prince George's County and Montgomery County
Mm.
and maybe even Howard County a little bit. Definitely not Baltimore City. Baltimore City does not qualify itself in the DMV. But to answer your question, let me be honest with you about Portland, Oregon. It is not a place to write home about. Like,
Oh,
King,
keep
I
going.
saw
Keep
someone
going.
doing drugs yesterday. Look at it this way for perspective. I am from Baltimore City, and yesterday was the first time in my life I've ever seen someone with a, can I say this word? With a,
Yeah, needle.
no, it wasn't a needle, it was a pipe. So
Okay.
I can just say
Pipe,
pipe. Okay.
yes.
So I saw someone with a pipe. That was the first time in my life that I've actually seen someone use it, and it wasn't on television.
You want to know my first time?
When?
When I was with you for the NEA last year in Philadelphia.
Oh my God.
Literally stepped over a person that had the paraphernalia right there next to their body.
And so, like, oh, the only time I've ever seen it is on television. But no, I literally saw him like take a hit, like light it. There was nothing. The closest thing to a dating situation that I saw, because we flooded there, it was somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000 of us flooding the streets of downtown Portland, and Portland was not ready for us in many ways.
Hmm.
But what I saw was there was this young woman and this young man who got on the train, and they were coming from the NEA assembly as well. And they were talking, and she asked him his age, and he gave such a pimp line. I loved it.
What do you say?
He said, excuse me, he said, do you want my biological age, my body's age, or my chronological age? Because they're two different numbers. He said, my heart, I have the heart of a 10-year-old.
Okay.
And I'm like,
Okay.
okay, I see you. Go ahead. Go off. Like, I loved it. And they were just having like a little like conversation, but that was literally the closest thing to dating. Other than that, other than them and employees who worked at stores or places of business where we were visiting, so like the hotels and the convention center and stuff like that, other than that, the only other people that I saw who were from Portland were the unhoused people that were on the streets.
Okay. I people watch. I people watch everywhere I go. And I like to see the interactions and things. People that code approach, whether it works or whether they fail. I don't know. Something about that stuff fascinates me. I'm a nerd. That could
No,
be creepy too. I don't
no,
know.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I like seeing that too. However, I'm saying I did not see that. I
What?
saw none of that. But I also didn't go out to any of the social events that, the other educators went out to. They had an LGBTQ um caucus. They had a minority caucus. I didn't go to any of those dinners and stuff like that. I was kind of reclusive in a way, but no, I didn't see much of a dating scene.
Okay. I have two questions, but I'll start with the first one.
Sure.
Is higher education a compatibility indicator or is it an ego builder?
I realize I'm a teacher, but the one thing I always joke and say is that my degrees do not mean that I'm a smart person. It just means that I listen really well and I can pull things together at the last minute. Like, that's how I interpret my degrees to me. But I think for some people, it's an ego booster to have all of those degrees. For me, my degrees, I'm grateful for them. They mean that I get an increase in pay. So I am entering my fifth year. July 1 marked my fifth year of education. Boom. Um, and I make significantly more than other educators who are entering their fifth year and they only have a bachelor's degree. And I don't say only as in a negative way to knock them, but just to say that there is a difference. There is a pay difference between the two. I'll take it. Is the pay difference the equivalent of what I pay to get those degrees? No,
Okay.
not at all. Not even a fraction of the cost. But there is a slight difference.
All right. Shout out to Tari. And Tari said, I appreciate what y'all do and salute. I'm going to give
Thank
you a
you.
salute back and actually follow up my next question, similar to what Torian talked a little bit about earlier. Don't answer it from your perspective. I need to hear what you see observationally that other women are doing. To other women, when you're having conversations with your peers and things, tell me about the difference between how financial stability and potential is viewed.
From what I'm seeing, and I'm just taking this from a social media scroll, is that okay?
That can work.
Okay. So from a social media scroll, what I'm seeing is that women are expecting men to front the bill, to foot the bill for everything that happens. Women come into meeting a guy, a situationship, whatever, and they already have established habits and they are expecting the man to pay it. When you first, and now I'm going to get into me. When you first met me, I was getting my nails done, toes done, and that type of stuff. There was never a point in our relationship where I turned to you expecting you to pay for
Mm-hmm.
me to get that stuff done.
Correct.
There was never a point. There won't be a point where there's an expectation. Oh, well, if he wants me to have this, he better give me the money for it. That is what I'm seeing on social media. That there is a level of expectation for a man to maintain what a woman was already doing, or what a woman feels like she needs to do in order to get this man. And but on the flip side, because I follow men and women, what I'm seeing from the male perspective is the men are like, but I didn't ask you to do this. You're not doing this to impress me. You're doing this to impress other women. So why should I front the bill? And again, women are coming back to that with the but you should want me to look good as your woman and like all this other stuff. So that's what I'm seeing. Women are like, you should front the bill, you should cover this, you should do it. And men are like, but you're not doing it for me because I like you the way you are.
I just had a thought as you
What?
were talking, and I was thinking about what Torian said earlier too. Should we just view things going forward as transactional? Like, is that the cure for
No,
getting people to be together?
but that makes me sad to think that everything has to be so transactional because I think we've gotten to a point where we have these expectations of the person that we're dating
Mm-hmm.
that are unfair. And that's essentially what an expectation is. It's your belief of how the other person should act, be, think, do, whatever. And you're placing those things on that other person, and that other person does not have to live up to our expectations of them.
Okay. Shout out to Pete. Shout out to Lily over on Twitch as well. Appreciate y'all pulling up. Um, I heard something from Coach Greg Adams. Shout out to him. He said, yeah, he asked people, he said, think about successful relationships in your real life. He goes, most people's views that they get about dating and how relationships should work comes from fantasy, movies, the
Mm-hmm.
books, things like that. It was like, you can't really point to people in your family to say that they have those same relationships that you see in the fantasy world. So why has it been that people are out there expecting that fantasy land type of love
Because
to
that's what
roll up?
social media is saying. That's not what the movies are saying. The movies aren't showing that. Even if you get an all black cast movie directed by like Ryan Coogler or something like that, you are not going to see a black man making sure that like his woman has her nails done and everything like that. You're going to see real black love. Maybe even a little bit of that struggle love, Paul, have that come out as well. But you're going to see a real story. It's social media where we are seeing, surprise your girl with a foot rub and everything like that, so she knows you care for her. Surprise her with getting her nails done. Call your woman and tell her to meet you downstairs in her best gown and like all of that type stuff. That's what you're seeing on social media, and social media is what's driving us. So because we see it on social media, we're like, well, that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do in order to get me and to keep me. You need to be able to pay my bills and do all this other stuff.
Do you think that male high earners playing the field is what's also messing up the dating market? And I was very specific to say male high earners.
Yes. So as I said many, many episodes ago and got tore up for saying it, it's a consumer market, right? If y'all continue to buy this, if you continue to accept this behavior from us, we'll continue to do it. Because yes, we're you don't care, and we're competing for other women. We're competing against other women, but okay. So you're a high earner, right? You earn half a mil. You earn 500,000 a year, right?
Okay.
I see you. I'm attracted to you. You're attracted to me, and we're working out, and then you go on a business trip or something like that, and some half-dressed woman throws herself at you, and although you refute her attention, something goes off in my mind that's like, I need to start dressing like her, I need to start acting like her, so that you don't get a wandering eye and you don't try to go off that path. So then I start changing who I am, how I dress, how I carry myself, to be able to meet what I know to be able to compete with what I know you're seeing out in the streets. And then it becomes this whole, now I have to look this certain way. I have to dress this certain way. You know, one of the women that I will forever love, and it's so sad that I can't recall her first name right now, Denzel Washington's wife.
Oh, if y'all know it, put it down in the chat.
I can't. I'm so embarrassed that her name is not coming to my mind. But you know why I love her? She and Denzel have been married forever. Okay? Forever. And Denzel has always been a heartthrob in the black community. Pauletta, that's it. Um, Denzel has always been a heartthrob in the black community. Like Denzel, thank you,
Thanks,
thank you,
Tori.
Tori. Denzel. I want Denzel. Like, I want to be married to Denzel. And I so respect Pauletta because she has never come across in any 304 attire. She has never thrown herself out there in the limelight to kind of like suck up all the attention. She has been home loving her man, raising their kids, and loving him from that. Like, he knew exactly, despite how Scottish like everyone else may have been around him, she maintained her composure and stayed in her role as his wife, because she's like, I'm married to him. I have his last name. I'm going to do this. And I so respect her for that. She did not give in to the weight of trying to look like everyone else and be like everyone else.
You know, that classy look, the older I get, I like a little bit more. I know everybody else is going to have their own thoughts and, you know, things like that. But in my 20s, I wasn't looking for classy. How short can them Daisy Dukes go?
Oh my gosh. Respectfully, you see a name like Pauletta, I feel like you know you about to get you a respectful woman.
Absolutely.
You about to get you some classy mama.
Pauletta, Claudine. Who else?
You better stop playing. You about to get you a church hat wearing woman.
Name another name.
Ernestine.
Ernestine,
Lord.
I've never seen a hoochie mama Ernestine in my life.
Come on now.
And I know 3 of them.
Oh.
And they all classy women.
Man, that's the Alabama.
I know 3.
Right there. I don't know
3 Ernestines. And the oldest is my age. Like, I don't know older Ernestines. 40, a little bit younger than my brother, 37 and 35.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
But those are the type of names that you come across when you're from the South. Let's see. Paul Bennett asked the following question. Does your significant other have to be on your intellectual level? Is it conversation that's important? Personally, I have friends and colleagues for that. My wife brings me peace and comfort. Isn't that enough though? So that actually was my next question here. Where basically, can someone from a different class background really understand your experience? Because I think what Paul brought up, right? And my question that I just asked they intersect because if you're from like the Hamptons and your experience is boat life and traveling, like having summer trips and traveling to Greece and things like that, and your significant other came from a family that, because of their socioeconomic situation, they didn't have enough money to take vacations. Their only vacations were family reunions that occurred every year in whatever city that the family reunion committee had decided to have. So you get those type of two together, they're attracted to each other. How much are you able to converse with that person and be comfortable around them? I don't I think it matters, but not as much as people might think that it matters.
Well, see, in the movies, I'm gonna comment on what you said, and then I'm gonna comment on what you said, Paul. In the movies, what you see is they'll come together and they have those two backgrounds, and they're like, you know what, we're not going to be what our parents were. We're going to make our own life, and we're going to set our own rules, and we'll create our own memories and that type of stuff. So that's how you see it work out in the movies. But to answer Paul specifically for me, yes, being able to have a partner, a significant other who is on my intellectual level does matter. Now, understand, I am not saying degree level, I'm not saying pay level, I'm not saying occupational level, because it could be someone who is a trash worker, but can they have intellectual conversations with me? Like, those are some things that fundamentally matter to me. Can I talk to you about things more than just the color of the sky? So, to give you a disclaimer, I dated someone who I had known for years, right? Knew him for years. I knew him through the Divine Nine. So I'm a member of a sorority. He's a member of the fraternity. We knew each other through that capacity. And it wasn't until we were dating that I realized our conversations never extended beyond that. We could never talk about anything that was happening in the news. We could never have a conversation about anything that was happening culturally. It was literally, let's talk about pop culture or let's talk about the Divine Nine. And those were the only two things we ever talked about. And even then, we didn't get in depth. We were always still in the very, very shallow areas. I can't do that. I am a sapiosexual, someone who thrives off of an intellectually stimulating conversation. My mind needs to be working, fortunately, a little bit too much, and I need to be able to have those conversations. I need to be able to ask someone a question, and I say this with all due respect, but to get a response as long as what you just wrote. Like, even that question, your question right there, I don't know if you look at it this way, but I do. But that question that you just wrote, Paul, that to me is an intellectual conversation, an intellectual question that I could not get from my ex. Like, just something that simple was something that I could not get from my ex. Like, the level of conversation was not there. So, yes, it is very important to me that I'm able to engage with my significant other on an intellectual level. And I think for most women, you're going to see that, especially Black women of today. Like, Black women who are educated, especially if they're HBCU educated, we just do things a little bit different. They're going to expect to be able to hold a conversation with the person that they're with. It's kind of it is an expectation. I don't know if I said that, but yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think if I can succinctly give my answer to Paul's first question. Does your significant other have to be on your intellectual level? Man, this is tough because on this hand, I just need to know that for me, my significant other is a critical thinker, meaning I can task you to do something and it'll get done. You don't necessarily need to have me handhold you the entire way through.
But is that critical thinking or a worker bee? Like, I get what you're saying.
Well, a worker bee can be a worker bee that can do anything, right? I need to know that because I can give a worker bee something and they could devalue the thing that I'm giving them. I need you to be somebody that brings value to what it is that I'm giving you. Otherwise, why are you around?
Right. Okay.
So that's this hand. But on the other hand, oh man, I as long as it's not draining, I think I could work with somebody who's not on the same intellectual level as I am, as long as they're not draining to be around. Like if I have to expend extra energy to get through something with you, that's where I think that it could be a problem. But it goes further into what Paul said, where he said that his wife brings him peace and comfort. So if you can, we don't have to be on the same intellectual level. I don't need to really have conversations like that, as long as you're not disturbing my peace. So if we're not on the same intellectual level, that's fine. But if I'm expending extra energy and cutting into my peace because of that, you got to go.
So that's fair. That's fair. And I see how you two have that in common. And I love the question that he just asked. He said, but why though? Oh, Paul, you done set yourself up for a real answer. Okay. So why? I get bored easily. And I need to be able to have stimulating conversation, or else why should I be with you?
I wasn't trying to touch your boobs. It was this part right here. It said, I feel your view would keep sisters single.
Oh, that's what you know what? I didn't even make it all the way through because I saw the why though, and I was going to answer a question by question.
You got the floor.
I look for me personally, I get bored easily. That is that is a common symptom of ADHD, which I have been diagnosed with. I get bored easily. I need to be able to have that conversation. And then if I'm having these stimulating intellectual conversations with other people, then why am I not with those other people? I want to be able to have that in my home life as well. I look at it as when you are with someone, there are certain things that you should not have to get from outside of your home.
Okay, it is also the flip side of that coin is there's a reason why there's a rise in poly type relationships.
Right. So that's it. Like some people aren't getting everything that they need from one person. They're getting some things and then they're getting other things from other people. I understand that, but that's why I'm saying for me it is important for me to get the majority of those things in my home. Like I'm not expecting you to be perfect and to fill every single thing that I need, but you do give me everything that I need, right? So there's that. Um why not have others like that? Because then like if I can't have that intellectual conversation with you, then how do you understand me? I am a very passionate person.
I was about to ask a question. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm a very passionate person, and if I am passionately fired up about something and I come home and I'm ready to share it with you and you're just like, "Oh, okay." That is going to like
But I do that with you sometimes. Sometimes I don't understand what you're talking about, but I listen to you. I might ask a clarifying question.
but that's it right there.
Okay.
You'll ask a clarifying question. You'll ask a clarifying question. And there's some things you get really, really passionate about that I don't like. I don't game, so I don't understand some things. I don't understand how all of that flows. But and that's why I'm like, I may not do everything that your friends may do, but that is important. I am very, very passionate about a lot of things, and I need you to at least be able to converse with me on some of those things that I'm very passionate about. And then, as far as Paul saying, my view will keep sisters single, I think that is why, because we are requiring that we want to come home. We want to come home and have our partner be that for us, be that person that we can talk to. As much of an introvert as I am, I come home and I'm ready to like share everything in my day with King. I have been 3 hours behind King for the past 6 days, and every single day I have called at the end of my day, so like 6, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, calling him at like 9, 10, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, ready to just like dish out about my entire day because he is my person, like that does give me a level of peace and comfort that the man that I love, I can come home to and just release all of that
Can we talk
to
about
him.
that real quick?
No, let's
No,
not.
trust me. Trust me.
Okay.
Like, trust me. I'm not trying
I
to
thought
take
you were
us
about to
off.
come for me.
No, no, not at all.
Go
Notice like I gave you time for that.
You did. And I appreciate that so much.
The thing that I wanted to communicate with you, and on one hand, I'm debating about if you like you should say this private. This is not an embarrassing thing. Trust me on this. I felt as though, like, while you wanted to download to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I gave you that space, I was comfortable giving you that space. I felt like you wanted me to download back to you sometimes, but I'm like, I have nothing to talk about. Life's good. Like, I'm sitting here chilling. I scratched my knee today and, played video games and packed for Japan. And it seemed like you were disappointed that I didn't have more. So understand this.
Like,
yeah, yes. So understand this about your man. I don't need to download. If I do need to download, I will tell you, hey, I gotta download some stuff. Do you have the capacity to hear me out? So just know that about your man in the future. Like, cause I'm like, man, was she disappointed that all I had to say was, life was good today? It seemed like you were.
I just it wasn't even so much that I needed you to download. I don't want our conversations to be one-sided where I'm calling you and all I'm doing is just pouring out everything in my day and then I don't give space for you to share what's going on in
Yeah,
yours.
but sometimes, like, you gave me space. My space is, hey, today was a good day. I chilled for the most part.
I scratched my left knee.
I scratched my left knee. I outbundled my hand in my pants and watched TV. So yeah, I was like, we should talk about this, and that was the perfect segue to do it. But see, I know how you are about hearing things first on the stream outside, but I felt like, and if I was wrong, let me know that was an okay thing to bring up.
You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. Does he have to understand you? I think I'm not going to speak for every woman and say that every woman wants her man to understand her. I will say that for me, it means a lot for the man that I'm with to understand me. If my therapist is understand, like all of my doctors in my life, all of my medical professionals are all men. Coincidentally, they're all men, and including my therapist. It means a lot to me for King to be able to understand me. And even if he may not fully appreciate how I'm feeling about a situation, it means a lot that he's able to at least listen and be there. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, not speaking for every woman, but I think that that is something that's important to us, that our partner is able to hear us, is able to understand our heart in a situation, even if it may not be how they feel, even if it may not be how they respond. But we want to come home and be able to lay down everything that we're carrying, not for you to pick it up and carry it, but for you to just understand like where we're coming from in that particular moment.
Interesting. In my head, I've heard myself say a lot of times, "Ooh, babe, I don't understand where you're coming from on that."
You said well, and yes. I don't take offense to
no,
that.
I mean, in my head just now, I heard all of the times that I've said that. That could make one think, and I'm not saying it for me, I'm just saying in general, that could make one think, like, is that going to be enough for you? Because what Paul said is something that men do think about, is that, sometimes men feel like they need to be everything to their woman. And I've said very early on to you, I can't be everything to you.
And that's the thing, I don't need you to be everything. I will say someone
Fizzle gig.
Okay. Said that men are problem solvers. So sometimes I just say things just to vent, not saying that because I'm expecting you to have any type of solution, but also the way my mind works, it's like I share the big things and the small things with you because somewhere in the middle or at some point, what I'm sharing to you now is going to impact us later. So it's better that I tell you now while it's fresh on my memory than for me to not say anything and then a decision happens later and you're like, well, whoa, 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 whoa. How did we get there? We didn't have a we didn't have a conversation about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, it was probably that day I wanted to vent, but I couldn't vent to you for whatever reason.
So first of all, Fizzle Gig, shout out to you. Fizzle Gig is watching
Okay.
on Kick right now,
Oh, awesome.
so that's pretty dope. And this right here, Fizzle Gig, I'm telling y'all, men, young men in your 20s, because I feel like young men are the ones that need to hear this. Understand this: if you are with somebody that you are professing to love, and they love you, and that person feels like they need to download, you should have the ear and go with it on an understanding. And you might need to ask the question, are you venting, or would you like to discuss and figure out a possible solution? Because I naturally wanted to always fix anything that my significant other would tell me. And I'd be ready to just come back. So why don't you think about this next time? And then sometimes that would lead to something like, not you,
No,
but
I'm about to get to a point about that.
that would, like, lead to something. And now we're off topic. And now what in my head should have been, you talked about something, there was a problem, here's the solution, now I'm going to go back to doing this.
So I'm gonna say this, and King will appreciate this. Again, I have clinically diagnosed ADHD. It's not just something that I like to say. And with that, my mind is a very dangerous thing to be around. I have random thoughts that pop into my head, and sometimes I don't get a level of physical peace, like a release to go to sleep, until I share that information. So one night I sent King this bullet point message because anytime I send anyone anything, it's ABCD 1 2 3 4 whatever. Send him all of these things, and it was probably like 10, 11 o'clock or something like that. And King gets it, and he's in problem solver mode. So he's like, okay, how do I start solving these problems? And it low key became a static point for us for a solid like 24 hours until the next day when we were able to talk. And I was like, oh no, honey, I just had some things on my mind. I felt so much better when I sent them. Like, there's nothing wrong. So now we're at a point in our relationship where if I'm ever feeling that way again, I send him this picture,
which says brain dump, and that lets me know she just needs to vent.
Yeah, so it says warning, brain dump with the dump truck, and then it says shell bell at the bottom. And that's his way of knowing that I'm sending him something that I just need to get off of my mind. I don't need him to do any type of solution or anything, and he will respond accordingly. This is also me knowing that I can send him 10 bullet point messages, and I will most likely get an okay back because I've already expressed to him that I am just venting. I am just running some things off my head. And I will send that to him again right before I'm about to go to bed. My mind would have been racing, 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 racing. I draft this up. I send it to him. Not 30 seconds later, I'm knocked out. Like, I don't even see the response that comes back from him because I'm at peace now. And that's all it took. It just took one photo just for him to know, all right, she's just clearing her mind right now. She don't need me to do anything.
Hey, Fizzle Gig, I'm curious. First of all, thanks for your input.
Yes.
Are you married? Are you in a long-term relationship? Are you single? Are you poly? What's your status? Please let us know. Let's see. Fizzle Gig also said, this is why men can sleep well at the end of the day. Yes. Yep. Hey, you know what be going on in this brain right before bedtime? Nothing.
And I say that with the utmost amount of respect and love. King can shut off his brain. My brain does not shut off easily, sometimes at all. Insomnia is a really, really big thing for me. It's a really big thing with the ADHDers in general that we struggle to be able to shut off our mind. And ADHD in women looks completely different from ADHD in men. And for me, it just means there are constantly 75 to 150 tabs open in my head at any given point. And here's your response.
All right, so we'll read this response. Thank you for commenting because we do have to wrap up the show here. Fizzle Gig said, I'm a 49-year-old white guy, 2 kids. an 18-year-old boy. Hey, shout out to you. Probably just had a recent graduate.
Oh,
And a
congratulations.
16-year-old girl. I have a daughter. She's about to turn 18 in 3 or so weeks. Let's see. I was married, had kids with another girl, took 7 years from dating to work on me and be
Ooh,
the
I
best
love
dad that
it.
I could be. That's what I'm
Yes.
talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, he's gonna get real excited now.
How much time do I have? I'm gonna try to say this in 30 seconds. I tell any man that is coming out of a long-term relationship, especially a marriage, and even especially if you had kids with somebody, a divorce is devastating. It is a huge change. The best thing that you can do as a man is to take yourself out the dating market, work on yourself, and you'll start seeing things skyrocket. I went into a straight monk mode. I didn't look at nobody. I didn't sniff nobody. I ain't touch nobody.
Why were you sniffing people?
And during that time period, when I was able to work on myself, things turned around and skyrocketed. So that's another example of somebody that did the same thing. I didn't take 7 years. I took less than
Seven is the
that.
number of completion.
Is it? I don't know what that means.
Biblical number of completion.
Okay. Good for you. Man, that's dope. And shout out to
I just need you to know, physically, you just made his heart so happy right now. So, and we're happy for you because you ended it with saying, and then you found your person about 10 years ago and you've been together ever since. Congratulations. We are very,
awesome.
very happy for you.
And let's see. I'm gonna mess this up. Joe DeLay Lewis. I don't know. It sounds foreign, but said I'm single right now. So be sure to tune in because we got asked if we could do like a call-in show. We would love to do it. If people would call in and just talk about their experience, we would love to host that. So to wrap up our show today, here's what I want to do as a call to action. For those of y'all who are single, take the time to go out of your comfort zone and talk to somebody that you typically wouldn't talk to. It doesn't have to be romantic or anything like that.
It can just be anyone.
You can go to a different place, a place that you're not used to going to. Go to a restaurant down by the water somewhere, even if you got to drive far to get there. You're putting yourself in a new place. Sit at the bar, even if you don't drink. Strike up a conversation
Unless
with
you're
somebody.
sober.
Yeah, well, if you're
don't do that.
sober, then I don't recommend doing that. But go to someplace different, and if you get the opportunity, just look at somebody and say, hey, how you doing? If they invite you in, use that to go forward. If they don't invite you in, then you know what? That's fine. It's okay. Rejection is actually not that bad. It sucks, but it's not that bad. We're going to be in Tokyo next Monday.
The next 2 Mondays.
And what we don't know is if we're going to be live or if we're going to have something pre-recorded. So if we do go live, the only way that we could do it with our setup, even though we multi-stream across more than one platform, is YouTube. So if you don't see us on Kick or Twitch or Facebook on Perry Productions, make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, The King and Me Show, as we know that we could go live over there without having any hiccups. To everybody that tuned in, thank you.
Fizzle Gig, we wanted to see more of you. Like,
yes.
I love this. Like, I loved everything that he just shared, and it made my heart so happy.
Yep, he said that he supports the message about going out and change up your areas and things like that. You have to get outside of your comfort zone. 100%.
The most dangerous place to be, and I said this somewhere else, probably on my website, the most dangerous place to be is in a state of complacency, in that comfort zone area. No growth happens there. So I love that.
All right. So to our mods, to Tom who pulled up again, Paul who's out walking his dog right now.
Paul, like, I love you so much, Paul. Thank you.
Paul wants to have a link up here sometime soon, so we need to make that happen.
Okay.
All right. Even if we go up there, I think we can make that work.
Okay.
Everybody's busy, but we'll find a way.
Okay.
And Joe DeLay, Fizzle Gig, MNRP that we saw earlier. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to catch up on our platforms. And don't forget to go to thekingandmeshow.com and vote for us.
Vote. Okay, you know what? Everything's a song now. I must be tired. Okay.
For America's favorite couple. I gotta go. Michelle has to go. She has some well-deserved and well-earned rest that she has to get to.
I've been up since what time? 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time yesterday. So we're talking about 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time yesterday.
Yep, and I can tell you, Ty, because you said PM, not AM. I love you, babe. Y'all have a good night.